What single moment changed your life forever? The day we were supposed to drive to Philadelphia for Dad's surgery is seared into my memory like a wound that never fully heals. It was early 1999, and for over a year, Dad had been battling this rare, aggressive cancer. The doctors had tried everything: chemo, radiation, the works, but it was clear it was getting worse. Then, this new radical surgery had come up as a trial, something experimental but promising. The whole family was hopeful, even if just a little. Hope was all we had left. We packed up the car early in the morning. Mom was quiet but determined, trying to hold it together for all of us kids. I was maybe 16 then, old enough to understand the gravity of what was happening, but still too young to grasp how much it would change everything. My little sister and brother sat in the back, fidgeting, probably too young to understand what this trip meant. The road to Philadelphia stretched out ahead of us, long and gray, a dull promise of a new beginning. We stopped somewhere halfway for lunch at a small roadside diner. It was nothing fancy, just a place with cracked vinyl seats and greasy menus. But for a moment, it felt normal. Dad, despite looking tired and thinner than I'd ever seen him, smiled as he ordered his food. We sat around that booth, all of us a little restless. The conversation was forced, a jumble of small talk and polite smiles. Mom kept checking her watch, maybe trying to keep the schedule on track. Dad ate slowly, picking at his plate but not really tasting much. After the meal, Dad cleared his throat and said he wanted to say something. The room fell silent. His voice was quiet but steady, which made what he said hit even harder. "I don't want to go through with the surgery," he said. "I've been thinking a lot on the way here, and I've decided I want to have fewer good days with you, rather than more bad days." I remember Mom's face, the way it flickered between shock and heartbreak. My little sister and brother just looked confused. I felt a sudden, cold numbness creep into my chest. The words didn't quite register at first. How could he just give up like that? How could he decide that after all the hope we'd pinned on this trip? But the resolve in his eyes was real. He wasn't giving up because he was weak. He was choosing how he wanted to spend his time left with us. No more endless hospital visits, no more surgeries that might make things worse, no more living on the edge of pain and despair. The drive back home was heavy with silence. The car felt smaller somehow, like the weight of that decision was pressing down on all of us. I kept stealing glances at Dad. He stared out the window, lost in thought, his jaw clenched tight. When we finally got home, everything felt different. The house that had once been a place of safety suddenly seemed fragile, like it could shatter with the smallest noise. Mom cried quietly in the kitchen. My siblings clung to her, trying to understand what was happening. I sat alone in my room, the quiet wrapping around me like a suffocating blanket. Days turned into weeks, and Dad's health slowly declined. But there was something else too, a strange peace in his decision. He wasn't hiding from what was coming. Instead, he faced it head-on, choosing to make the time left count in his own way. He spent more time in the garden, watching the flowers bloom and fade. He told stories to us that he hadn't shared before, memories from his childhood, and the things he dreamed of doing. He laughed more often, even if the laughter was sometimes tinged with sadness. There was no miracle surgery, no last-minute cure, but in those months, we found a new kind of hope, the hope that comes from acceptance, from making peace with the things we can't change. When Dad passed away, it was quiet, surrounded by the people he loved. I'll never forget the strength it took for him to choose that road trip home. The day he made that choice not just for himself, but for all of us. That moment, frozen in time, changed everything. It taught me about courage in the face of despair and the power of love, even when hope feels lost. It was the day I realized life isn't about clinging to every possibility, but sometimes knowing when to let go. I carry that day with me still. It's a part of who I am.